Hello everybody, I'm Granny. Today we're going on a drive around Spanaway, Washington. Spanaway has a surprisingly interesting history. There's a lot more to the place than meets the eye. Of course, the lake is beautiful, and there are a lot of fun things to do. But that's not all. From 1833 until 1870, the Hudson Bay Company operated a trading post at Fort Nisqually near the town of DuPont. The Hudson Bay Company needed a way to feed everybody, so they formed the Puget Sound Agricultural Company. They hired a Scotsman named John Montgomery to run the farm near Spanaway Lake. John built his cabin next to Spanaway Lake. It was called the Spanaway Station. He started raising cattle and sheep and grain there. Around this time, the people in Washington were pushing for what they called manifest destiny. It was the idea that it was the destiny of the United States to stretch from one ocean to the other. So they started passing what they called Homestead Acts. The Land Claim Act was one of those. The Land Claim Act gave people the chance to go to the Oregon Territory, build a cabin, work the land, and live there for 4 years, and then the land would be theirs free and clear. Many people took them up on this opportunity. In 1846, the new president, Franklin Pierce, chose Isaac Stevens to be the first governor of the Washington Territory. Pierce also appointed Isaac Stevens to be the superintendent of Indian Affairs. Stevens had no knowledge about Indians, and his harsh treatment of them resulted in a uprising 1855 to 56. When the settlers arrived from their arduous trip over the pass, they were determined to get their land and would poach in the animals and the land that belonged to the Hudson Bay Company. The Hudson Bay Company finally gave in and sold the land to the government. So after battling with the Indians and with the Hudson Bay Company, the town of Spanaway began to flourish.
This is the cutest.
By the 1890s, Spanaway had become a small town. A small railroad company built a line from Tacoma to the end of the line in Spanaway, where tourists would come to visit the lake. This is what that street looks like today. The Exchange Tavern was built in 1893 and was the lone survivor of a disastrous fire in 1922. The Exchange is one of the oldest taverns in Washington State. They even remained in business during Prohibition. They made moonshine out on the island in the middle of Spanaway Lake and home delivered it as medicine. This was the only legal way to sell alcohol during Prohibition. While the railroad was still in operation, people would travel from Tacoma to visit the lake here in Spanaway. When Mount Rainier National Park opened, people would come to the end of the line, stay in a hotel overnight, then the next morning they would board horse-drawn coaches and travel to visit the park. From this point, it was still a 2-day trip to get to Mount Rainier Park. After the Panic of 1893, the trains were replaced with streetcars. Before white men came, the Indians called this place Spanaway, which meant dug roots. The roots they were referring to were the Camas. Here is a field of Camas growing in Mount Rainier Park. This root was very important to them, both for their diet and for trading. Today the area is covered with trees, But when the Indians were here, they would burn off the trees in order to grow their camas. Much of the land was open prairie, and that was perfect for the new settlers coming in. Many of the settlers had to move when the land was sold to Camp Lewis. Today, JBLM is sitting on 86,000 acres of what was once homesteader land. I hope you enjoyed this history of Spanaway. Thanks for watching. Bye.